What's up guys, welcome to this week's Merce World. Hope you've had a really good week and I hope you enjoyed the selection of films and TV shows I gave you last week. Thank you very much for all your comments as always, especially in response to the question I asked last week about Back to the Future being remade is a good idea or not. The general consensus looking at psych movie reviews looks like you don't think it would need a remake, although Tom Holland would be good. Totally agree with that one. Nick Byro, I'm glad you enjoyed Brightburn as well. I thought it was really good. So if you haven't seen it guys, check last week's episode and I reviewed it for you just so you can get a bit of a feel for it. And Andy Stevens, thank you very much for your recommendation. I'm actually going to be reviewing that one this week. This week, I'm reviewing Mark Wahlberg's new film on Netflix, Spenser Confidential, the new drama centering around mental health, All the Bright Places, Midsommar on Amazon Prime, and 13 Sins on Netflix. So, without further ado, let's see what I've been watching this week. 13 Sins on Netflix. 13 Sins is a thriller / horror. Now, this has recently come to Netflix. It was actually on one of the other streaming services, but I rewatched it again recently as it was trending on Netflix, and it is a fantastic little gem of a film that you may not have heard of. Don't get me wrong, this is definitely not one up for the Oscars, but it's a really enjoyable, gripping little thriller / horror that you kind of start watching, you can't take your eyes off till the very end. You're like, wow, quite enjoyed that, to be honest with you. The story follows a down on his luck guy, a bit of a loser, he's a bit of a walkover, you know, his boss hates him, he's in sales, but he hasn't really got a cutting edge, things like that. Got a nice wife and stuff, but he just, you know, always fails to provide. So one day he's in a car, he finds his mobile phone, this weird ringtone, and then answers the phone. The guy said, look, basically for $100, you've got to kill this fly in the car. So he kills the fly, then $100 transfers to his bank, and then basically gets invited to play a game where you do each challenge and the money goes up, and obviously the challenge gets a little bit worse, and at the end of it, you obviously get the money. This is a really enjoyable film. Ron Perlman is also in this. He plays the detective who's sort of investigating all these crimes that are going on that are committed by the gentleman playing the game, and it is a very gripping end-to-end movie. Now, this reminded me a lot of something like Saw. So if you like the original Saw, where it's low budget but really enjoyable, and you're like, wow, that was actually unexpectedly good, this is like that. Now, don't get me wrong when I say unexpectedly good, I'm not talking about 10 out of 10, it's more of a sort of 7 out of 10, but a really enjoyable 7 out of 10. This also had reminded me of something like Phone Booth, not just because there's a phone involved. From start to finish, you're kind of engrossed, sort of something like Gravity or Phone Booth. But overall, a very enjoyable film, quite gory, obviously the horror elements very Saw-like, and then the gripping elements very Phone Booth-like. So if you enjoyed Saw or Phone Booth, I think you'll very much enjoy this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think everyone would enjoy it, but I may be wrong. All the Bright Places on Netflix. Now, thank you very much, Andy Stevens, for recommending this one in the comments last week. This film is a bit of an odd one. This film is a drama, Netflix original, starring Ellie Fanning as sort of the most well-known person in it, I would say. You may remember her from Super 8. It centers around a high school girl who's dealing with mental issues after the death of her sister in a fatal car crash. And it centers around her and then a relationship with the school freak, as they call him, a guy that's kind of also got sort of different mental issues and he's kind of bullied about things like that. So watching the trailer on this one, it kind of looks like a really good kind of rom-com, and you know, there's been a lot of complaints online about this one because there's no sort of trigger warning, because the subject matter is quite distressing, especially if you have suffered from any kind of mental illness or depression, things like that. It's obviously very important mental health at the moment, so it's great that a movie is addressing it. But as an actual movie, I would say it was quite average. Don't get me wrong, there's some great moments in it. The acting is good on some parts, but I just found the story a little bit... It reminded me a lot of Garden State. I don't know if you remember that film years ago. It's a Zach Braff film. It didn't really deliver the heights I was expecting. So it got me engrossed, and then it was a bit slow. It addressed the subject really well about sort of the mental illness and the stigmas associated with it. I'll give it credit for that. But as a movie overall, I wouldn't highly recommend it, as I found it a little bit slow. So if you are into arty, kind of indie, slow tempoed movies, this one's definitely worth a go. But if you're expecting, like the trailer suggests, a kind of teen rom-com, you're going to be very disappointed and probably, you know, a little bit upset as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Spenser Confidential on Netflix. This is a new Mark Wahlberg starring Netflix original film. Actually listed as a drama, but it's more of a sort of action. There is drama in it, but I say the drama elements aren't that sort of, you know, that deep, as it were. It's more of a sort of enjoyable kind of buddy cop kind of tale. The story focuses around Mark Wahlberg's character. He's a really good cop, sticks to the rules, you know, believes in justice. He ends up going to prison for sort of beating up his captain over some incident that happens. loses his job as a policeman, so he comes out as an ex-con, but he just can't leave it alone. There's crime going on in Boston, something doesn't smell right, so he has to investigate. He ends up buddying up with his roommate at the time, another ex-con, and it's a very, very enjoyable movie from start to finish. There's lots of action, lots of drama, Ultra HD as well, so if anyone has Netflix and Ultra HD, you can benefit from that. And just a very enjoyable film. I think if you like something like Six Underground, it's got a lot more story than that. The recent one with Ryan Reynolds does have a lot more story than that, a bit more deep than that, sort of a bit more of a sort of what's going on, who's corrupt, etc., etc. But overall a bit fun. It also reminds me a little bit of something like the A-Team, actually. I don't know why, it's got a bit of A-Team element to it. I think you'll agree with that. Let me know in the comments below if you don't. But overall, a fantastic little movie, a nice surprise. I've had it on my list for a little while. So if you're looking for something that's sort of easygoing, action, bit of drama, good acting, it's Mark Wahlberg, he doesn't really do any bad films that I can think of, check this one out. I found it very enjoyable and I hope you will too. So that's a new release, Spenser Confidential on Netflix. Midsummer on Amazon Prime Video. I have been waiting so long to review this film. This was my second favourite film of last year when I saw this at the cinema, after The Joker obviously. Midsummer is the third film by the same sort of group that did The Witch. Then they did Hereditary, which as many of you have told me you absolutely hated after I reviewed it and said it was brilliant. It was the best horror film I'd seen. This is slightly different. It is a horror film, but it is a bit more of a sort of psychedelic trip film as well. Just to put this in perspective, my lovely girlfriend Ariel, who is very helpful with the channel, so I'd like to say a big thank you first and foremost for all your help and all your support helping me with the channel around life, so thank you Ariel. Now she's a bit of an expert on horror films. Now she watched Hereditary and she absolutely hated it like many of you did. She watched this one and she enjoyed it, so hopefully that'll give you a bit of guidance whether or not it's worth watching if you hated Hereditary. The story follows a young girl who's going for a bit of a traumatic relationship with a boyfriend. He's a bit of a jerk, doesn't really want to be with her. They all decide to go to Sweden with one of their sort of university friends, families, and spend sort of 6 weeks in Sweden celebrating this sort of summer festival. The film is very dark, it's very twisted, it's very trippy. Where it's set in Sweden, it's a lot of sunlight, so even the night scenes are set at daytime and it kind of messes with your head a little bit. It's one of those movies where I started watching, I just couldn't really take my eyes off it. I got totally engrossed, and then when it ended, I was kind of a bit sad it was ended because I kind of felt part of it. It was really hard to explain. It's a very unique film. It's got some of the best shots I've ever seen in a movie, some real beautiful scenery, some amazing lighting. The detail that the director goes to is unbelievable. This will not be for everyone, as Hereditary wasn't, but I think if you hated Hereditary, I'd like you to give this a go if you don't mind, and just let me know what you think in the comments below. So I hope you guys enjoy it too, but I don't expect you all will. That's all we got time for this week, guys. Thank you as always for tuning in. It means the world to me. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button below and also hit notifications. You'll be first to be informed as soon as I put a brand new video up. I'm making a few little specials for you guys in the background, so make sure you hit notification because they will be popping up sporadically, not always on a Thursday. So look out for those, guys. I hope you enjoy them. And if you haven't already, make sure you share Merseyside with all your friends. Send it to your WhatsApp groups, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the internet stuff. And make sure you tell everybody about the channel, and hopefully it's helped you find good things to watch on Netflix, Amazon and Sky, as many of you have been telling me it has. So thank you very much, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Next week, I've got a great selection for you guys, so make sure you come back. I've already got a couple things lined up to review that I've already seen at the cinema, and they are brilliant, and they'll be coming to the streaming service to you next week. So, all I've got to say is, see you guys next Thursday. Have a great week.